Me?
Yeah.
No.
Hello,
Welcome.
world. How's everybody doing today? Hey, look, we know it's easy to point the blame on somebody, especially when you think it's their fault. But how often do we examine ourselves and our behaviors and the consequences that follow them?
Yes.
We're going to talk about that and much more in this episode of Couples Pursuit Live.
Couples Pursuit.
Hello, this is Vincent
And Valerie
Woodard, and on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live,
we're going to talk about the I exam.
the I exam.
Not the I, but the letter I exam. 8 questions to examine your communication skills.
Exactly. Look, please share this with someone if you think this could be a topic that someone would be interested in. We appreciate you so much for sharing the word and joining us here tonight. And look, in the earlier episode, we had a video, or we talked about a topic, said, "Can I talk to you?" And we discussed what happens when you no longer can feel like you can talk to your spouse, like you can't connect with them. Every time something, you try to connect with them, it's an argument, something blows up, it's just a disconnect. It don't really go the way that you envisioned that it would go. And that's you talking to them. Well, in this episode, we want to pose a question: are you the hard to talk to person? Are you the person that your spouse cannot approach you? Like, every time they try to come to you, you get defensive, you get standoffish, and deep down inside, you might not even really want to be this way, but it seems to come up so much, and it leads to arguments, and fights, and discussions, and so many marital issues.
Yes, and we talked a little bit about, the other side of it. Not only can you talk to your spouse, but can your spouse talk to you? In this episode, we really want to just concentrate on me. What am I doing in the relationship to contribute to problems and or solutions?
Yeah, for real. Because if you take an ownership and take a responsibility, say, you know what, I know it's a breakdown. I know I got an issue when my spouse tries to come to me. And I get so irritated. Some things I don't really understand why I feel this way. Why? Right. And so this we've listed 8 questions, maybe to help you take a self-inventory of, hey, what is it about you that we might can fix? Like, we might can help now. So let's just go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. What's that first question?
The first question, question 1. And think about it. Right here, baby. Yeah. There you go. The I exam. All right, so question 1. In order to avoid conflict, do you tend to steer clear of certain topics, i.e. money? I'm scared to say the S word. Hope Facebook don't ban me. I don't know if Facebook would.
Intimacy, physical intimacy.
Yeah, or household chores. Ew. All right, so the answer is choose one and think about it. In most cases, yes, it's easier the way to avoid the topic. That's A. B is a lot, as talking about these topics can lead to arguments. C, occasionally, but keep an open mind about things. And D, no topic is off limits between me and my spouse.
Ooh, what's your answer?
Oh, man. My answer really probably now is D.
Now. Okay, what was your answer years ago?
I would say might have been A. You do that?
I'm gonna go up and answer for you. Yes.
It might have been A for real.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's easier to just avoid the conflict. That would have been my. What about you?
Well, listen. I always wanted to talk about it, and you always didn't want to talk about it, and so that was our issue.
Yeah.
So I always want to address problem.
That's right. And that's why we're still here. Not just kidding. That's why we're here right now.
Listen.
We didn't talk about them. We were still having the same reoccurring issues. But so examine for yourself. The first question, in order to avoid conflict, do you avoid the possibility of conflict by not talking, by not having the conversations about household chores and intimacy?
Or whatever comes up, whatever possible area for disagreement. Because what we think sometimes is that by avoiding it, we avoid the problem, but you don't. You just prolong it.
That's exactly right.
Just prolong it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, or one or the other spouse is unhappy.
Yeah.
And if you're selfish, you're satisfied with that.
Yeah.
So that leads us to question 2.
Okay.
In an average month, how often do you and your spouse sit down to talk uninterrupted?
Okay.
A, barely. We don't have enough time to sit down and chat. B, occasionally, but not frequently. C, we talk about the important stuff when we need to. Or D, we make time to sit down and talk regularly.
You know what? Am I answering this?
Answer the question.
So we talk about the important stuff often.
Yeah.
We talk about actually we make time to talk now. We said it's not the time when we say, you know what, we're going to go hang out, we're going to go on a date, we're going to go. We intentionally do not discuss like, okay, well, baby, the bills are due, or we got something going on, or whatever, But we want to have fun. We want to enjoy each other. So I would say right now, today, we make time to sit. We talk about important stuff when we need to. Is that? Or you think?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I would say we talk about it when we need to, and even if we don't necessarily want to. We do.
Yeah. So what about you? Leave us a comment and let us know. So is it barely? We don't have no time. Occasionally, but not frequently. Or we talk about the important stuff when we need to, or we make time to sit down and talk regularly. That's a good one. I'm gonna get to that one.
Yeah.
Also, question 3, I got another one for you.
Okay.
Alrighty, this is the eye exam again. These are questions to help you evaluate your behavior, your decisions that you make, and the consequences that follow. Alrighty, so I hope you're taking notes and maybe sharing this with someone that, hey, I think this might be good for you, or sharing this with your spouse and say, babe, hey, I think this is something that we can do. This is it's a less intrusive way to maybe bring up the topic of why don't we talk more, da da da. So we're on 3. Alrighty, if your spouse tells you you've upset them, do you tend to A, shut down and stay away until things blow over? Remind them that they're not perfect either. Get anxious as I don't like confrontation. Listen to, this is D. I'm sorry I didn't say the letters. Listen to what they are saying, acknowledge their feelings, and talk it through. So, me, you.
Well, you can ask me, I guess, but you already know the answer.
Yes. Listen to what they're saying and acknowledge their feelings and talk things through. Now, that acknowledge their feelings, I think is so important.
It is.
We spoke about these in previous videos, and so I don't want you to kind of gloss over it, because I did actually for a lot of years of our marriage, because when we had a disagreement, we had an argument, like I was mad. Okay, I want you to get the point that I was mad, And then if you were upset, I didn't think you should be upset.
No, I didn't have a right to be upset.
I didn't understand why you were upset.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Why are you mad? You shouldn't even be mad about that.
Yeah, and so I didn't embrace that, acknowledging your feelings early on. So
yeah,
and man, I could have wow. Just think about it now. If I just would have embraced it, like I'm hearing someone tell, I'm telling you now, actually grab a hold of that. Like I want to keep that. when next time, if we have a disagreement, because the plan is not to argue, okay?
Right,
but if we have a discussion and they bring something to you, okay, it's an issue that they're having. Right.
And listen, and you know what? I first I want to ask you a question. Why did you feel like I didn't have a right to be upset before when it was that way?
I guess it did come across as you didn't have a right to be upset. This my whole thought process was, I don't understand why you're upset. It's like if that was me,
I wouldn't be upset.
I wouldn't be upset
because I'm a great guy. And I do all these wonderful things. And why would you ever be upset with me? I don't cheat. I don't hang out. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I'm not violent. Blah, blah, blah. All these things. What do you have to be upset about?
Well, I just, about the topical on my head is that I didn't think that was upsettable.
Be mad. Right. Why would you be mad about that?
Yeah, that was the topic.
The other thing I want to do is just acknowledge you because we talk about all the time that we've now gotten to a place where we don't argue. We just don't. We don't have an argument. That doesn't mean we don't have opportunities for disagreement, because we do. We just had one. I like how you said that. We just had one this weekend, and you did so well. Man, you did a great job. I can see you putting all those things into place. Like, oh Lord, she and her feelings, and I expressed that. Something was said and kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm like, I don't know, I might be feeling.
I play too much.
Will and Kelly, if y'all watching, it's not the time, right? Yeah, so I was in my feelings about something and just expressing to him. And to me, he was joking and took an opportunity to poke fun. And I was like, now's not the time to be poking fun at me. And I really I felt terrible. And I went upstairs, or I came upstairs, and I was like, okay, Valerie, you're obviously upset. You need to tell them you're upset. You need to acknowledge why you're so upset. So I had to put some of my own, I had to take some of my own medicine. And what I say is emotions are indicators, not instructions, right? So just because I felt like being angry didn't mean I should be angry. Examine, why do you feel like being angry? Well, you feel like being angry because you're hurt. Why are you hurt? You're hurt because this is happening and you're dealing with something that he's not aware of. Okay, so you need to take your little happy hips downstairs and tell him that you're dealing with something that he's not aware of, and let him know how what he said affected you, because it was not the first time he said something, but the second. And you did so well in just listening and acknowledging and apologizing for, rubbing me the wrong way. You embraced me, and I did not feel patronized. I did feel that you were putting in the effort, that you were actively listening, but I didn't feel like, oh, you poor little thing. No. I didn't feel like that at all.
You know what? I was like, wow, she's not happy.
Yeah.
She's like, wow.
Oh, something's wrong.
Yeah. She's not happy.
I wasn't.
Yeah, so it was like, wow. And I care that you're not happy.
You
so
did.
I'm like,
you didn't get defensive and go, what?
Why you mad, son?
How you gonna be mad? And son, I'm a male all of a sudden. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because sometimes people might be like, oh, y'all don't argue. Yeah, right. just because the time hasn't come. Okay, well, we had opportunity. There was a time in the past, boy, where that would have been a blow up.
Yeah.
It would have been what you say that for? What you mean? What's wrong with you? Why you take it that way? You're so sensitive. Blah, blah, blah. What you mean I'm so sensitive? I can't tell you nothing. And and all of those things. And then it would have been the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Passive.
Yeah.
We missed all the fun we had this weekend.
Yeah.
It was Mother's Day. Right. We would have missed all of the fun we could have had together, because of pride and emotion and sensitivity and ignorance and all of those other things.
Yeah, so acknowledge really.
Acknowledge your spouse. If you walk away and you shut down till things blow over, do things really blow over? Do they just get swept under the rug?
They're still there.
Right, and you eventually get tripped up over that.
You get tripped up on the rug, you tripped over that
And you
lump.
tripped over that. You did. Remember that time? You didn't want to talk about it? Yeah. Okay, so number 4. How do you react when you feel that your spouse has treated you unfairly?
Wow.
Ooh. Okay. I remain quiet until my spouse realizes I'm upset. I tend to get angry and remind them of all the other stuff they've done that has upset me. I get distressed for a while, but eventually I calm down and let them know what's upsetting me. Or D, those were A, B, and C, by the way. Or D, I'm specific about what's upsetting me so we can deal with it effectively.
Well, look. I guess you're answering the question, so I have to answer. My old me. A, I will remain quiet until my spouse realizes I'm upset.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was the old me.
It didn't take long. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And then the evolved but not yet me would have went, I tend to get angry and remind them of all the stuff they've done to upset me.
You always. You are every time, and you always. I'm like, Lord.
And then the minute me trying to practice on my wife, I get distressed for a while, but eventually I calm down and let them know what's upsetting me. Man, I went through all of these, then finally settled on D, and I'm still working on D. I tell you the truth, to get specific about what's upsetting me, so we can deal with it effectively. I'm for real. I'm still working on D, but I went through that whole transition.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Thank you, baby.
I thank God for Jesus.
5. Okay.
Number 5.
These are questions that it's the eye exam, questions that you ask yourself.
Be honest with yourself, y'all.
Yes, to examine your behavior, the decisions you make, and the consequences that follow them. So now we've settled on question 5. When it comes to compromising with your spouse, how flexible would you say you are?
Ooh, my Lord Jesus. Who answering this question? Me or you?
You answered it.
I should have let you answer this one.
A.
It's the eye exam, so I have to answer this question. Okay.
A, it's my way or the highway? Maybe we should ask the question and answer it ourselves. Maybe
right.
It's my way or the highway. We often end up in a power struggle where neither of us are willing to give way. Sometimes I give in to make things easier. More often than not, we try and meet each other halfway.
Wow.
Did you? So are we going to do that now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so I asked the question and I'm going to attempt. Wow, man, you know what? This dude right here, she dealt with.
Ooh.
I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you, ladies. If you have a man that said, "Well, A is my man," that was me. A, it was my way or the highway. Yeah, I didn't kick her out, but I was like, I go. I just forget about it. I don't understand it. And B,
he go unless I say go, and he'd be like, I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Because I'm going because I want to go, not because you kick me out. Ladies, I'm encouraging you.
Honey, if he did it for us, he can do it for you. I made it. Hallelujah.
B, we often end up in a power struggle where neither of us are willing to give way. We've done that.
Towards the end. Yeah,
sometimes I give in to make things easier. That was at the end, sometimes I was like, okay, well, I don't know if I ain't gonna win this argument. Yeah, so. I don't want to. And then more often than not, we try to meet each other halfway. You know what? The goal is to be happy. It's not happy wife, happy life.
Happy spouse.
It's happy spouse.
Happy house.
Amen.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. And maybe that's not even phrasing it right. We try to meet each other halfway. We really just want to solve this. Right. Whatever this was it about? Could be.
It's about what's right.
What's right.
And not who's right. So I might have to go all the way over to his side of the table, and he may have to come all the way over to mine. We might meet in the middle. We might decide, oh no, we good. We're good. Okay, misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. It's whatever it takes.
Yeah, it's not leaving there like, okay, well, I told her Told her what? You should have told her that you loved her, you cherish her, you cherish her, you appreciate her.
I put her in her place.
Yeah, no.
Well, what is her place?
Her place is to be your spouse.
Be beside me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so this is good. This is good, baby.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so number 6. Number 6 says, is it easy for you and your spouse to apologize to each other? A, we don't apologize very often. We just let things blow over. B, not very easy. We have a tendency to argue about who should apologize first. C, it's not always easy, but usually we manage it. Or D, we don't tend to sweat the small stuff and tend to say sorry relatively quickly. Well,
we are deciding that we're going to ask the question and answer
it.
Our own question.
Okay. So what is saying, what do we do, not just what do I do?
What do you and your spouse?
Oh gosh. Now we tend not to sweat the small stuff. And we will apologize relatively quickly for misunderstandings, because what we both figured out now is that we don't have a desire to hurt each other.
That's right.
To harm each other.
Key.
And I think once you get to that point, you fall in love, you get married, you want to be with somebody, and then as soon as you have a disagreement, you think, oh, well, they're my enemy. They want to harm me. They want to, and it can feel that way when someone is being protective and defensive.
Yeah, it's and you like, well, I can't help but feel that way. Really, I can understand you a little bit, because it's the cortisol, or the chemical in your body, that when you think you're being threatened or under attack, it's like all energy rushes to defense mode, and you kind of even neglect a lot of the common sense, the let's think about things through. Let me try to talk with
you get to fight or flight,
the dinosaur, and see it then.
Not the dinosaur.
Okay, but instead of trying to think about practical ways, maybe you want to protect yourself. But when you realize that, hey, my wife is not my enemy.
Yeah, she's my friend. He's the person that I want to be with the most. He's the person who, gets me giddy and gives me the giggles and, keeps me smiling and all that other stuff. So what's happening? What is happening within me that would cause me to choose any other answer besides D? Because we used to, in the transition of things, I used to be upset, but then I would apologize so we could just come back together, even though I felt like I didn't do anything, but we got to get it together for these kids, or I don't like the tension or whatever. And I'm sure some of those times I was guilty of aggravating him or irritating him or whatever, even if it was just with the way that I wanted to resolve the issue. But that didn't work, because what that did was sweep it under the rug, and then I would trip over it. It's like, oh God, now I had to eat crow the last time, and I have to eat crow this time, and I'm tired of eating crow. And then I just would get angry about that. And so things never really blew over. They just built up.
Yeah.
They just built up. And then, let's see, not very easy. We have a tendency to argue, this is B, about who should apologize first. When we would get into it and having the conversations, boy, well, you said such and such and such. Well, I said I'm sorry. You didn't say I'm sorry. I did say I'm sorry. Well, if you such and such, and it just became this thing. So we went through that.
It was more
too
of how to argue. It was like we didn't even agree on the ground rules. I wasn't on board on the ground rules.
Listen, there were no rules unless he wanted there to be rules. Okay? And can I share this? Lord have mercy. What used to frustrate me so badly is that I would have an issue, because initially what my husband felt like is I was attacking him. And so he would automatically go into defense mode. And I wasn't attacking him. I was either making a point, trying to let him know how I felt, or how something he said or did was offensive or hurtful to me. And all he heard was, I hate you.
Yeah, you did wrong.
I hate
did
you.
Something.
You're a
did
bad
it.
person. And he would say, I'm not a monster. I'm like, who is saying that you're a monster? But can you stop yelling because now you're acting like a monster? And then it would just turn into this thing. And the thing that would frustrate me the most is we would argue and argue and argue and argue to the point where he would finally say, you know what? I did do such and such. And that would just make me mad. Because I'm like, why couldn't you just admit it? And why did we have to get to the point where I'm crying and I'm frustrated and I want to leave and, all of that. I want to go out of the house and, spend up all my money or do something to make myself feel better. And it's like, that's irrational. That's useless. So just be honest. Be open and... don't allow the enemy to come in and build walls. Yeah, because of pride and misunderstanding and
that's good. That's good. 7 is when you and your spouse disagree. We kind of touched on this a little bit, but how quickly do you resolve the issue and move forward? A is resentment tends to bubble around, and we get stuck in a pattern of not talking. Okay, wait, answer. B, we can spend a long time arguing about who's right before coming to an uneasy truce. C is we don't tend to let things drag on. Instead, we tend to agree to disagree. Or D is quite quickly. We prefer to nip things in the bud rather than let them get out of proportion. So, of course, man, A was my go-to. Resentments tend to bubble around and we can get stuck in a pattern of not talking because that was my thing, it was shut down. I was the shutter outer, just I don't want to feel, I don't want to be emotional. I don't want to, I don't want you to be emotional about something I did because I'm thinking that you're saying that it's my fault that you're it's like, okay, just shut it down, But thank God we got to a place where we actually talk. I mean, if something happened, let's talk. And that was not, I'm talking about the 22 years in, y'all. And we are getting to that place where I can say, baby, you know what? This happened and I'm not too happy about it, But that was not always the case. I probably went through a transition of all these resentment. We could spend a long time arguing about who's right before coming to an easy truce. That was me just trying to get back to good, I guess. Not great, just good. And we tend to let things drag on instead. We don't tend to let things drag on instead. We tend to agree to disagree.
Did we ever make it there?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Yeah. I want to give you hope. Whether you're the wife and your husband, you see these qualities in him, or if you're the husband and your wife is that way, there's hope. I'm trying to tell you. I mean, with God's help, prayers, understanding, and to examine yourself, like what's your part in all of this? That some things that you can do to try to overcome and get past. You will get to a better place. I believe it with all my heart. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, because we made it, and not everybody makes it. It's tough when you have a spouse that does not communicate well, and it takes the grace and the mercy of God to endure, and it also takes a bit of tenacity. Yeah, to say, you know what, I'm not going to keep doing this with you. We have to find a better way. Yeah, if we don't find a better way, this is not going to work. That's right. However you communicate that. And that's not saying that you jump ship early, but we've been together, it'll be 25 years in May. We've been married. We'll have been married 22 years in May. And we spent a good portion of our marriage just being foolish. Me going through the motions of trying to figure out, how do I move? How do I respond? trying to figure out, what am I doing something wrong? I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. Then I got to the point where I know I didn't do anything wrong. Now I'm tired. So what we gonna do about this being tired? Well, he didn't quite know how to respond to that. And so at first I think it made him more standoffish, because it's like, oh, now you tripping. And I was like, no, I'm not tripping. I'm just not accepting it. And then it became kind of like a standoff, and it took longer, because I'm like, I'm not going to keep, coming back and trying to fix this. It's rubbing me raw. So what do we do? And, gosh, we just went through so many phases of that, and it just began to wear down the fibers of our relationship. Yeah. To the point where it may not happen as often, but when it did, it always brought the residue of the time that it happened before. That's true. And the time that it happened before. And
that's the sweeping up under the rug. It's still there.
It's still there.
Came back out.
And I remember saying to you once, "This is changing me." You remember me saying that?
Yeah, I remember it changing, because you got angry. You started getting like,
he said, "You're mean."
Not
That's what he said to me.
Anymore.
He said, "You're mean." I was like, you know what? Respect is not optional. And I done jumped through all these hoops trying to figure it out, trying to be the good wife, trying to be the saved wife, trying to be the submissive wife, trying to be, everything that I thought I should be. And I'm like, I done figured out that it doesn't matter how I am. This is how he is. Yeah, he doesn't like conflict.
To change, yeah.
Right. And so it took a toll on me emotionally. It took a toll on me mentally. It took a toll on me spiritually. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. Because it's not right and it's not fair. I love him, but I can't. And what I realize is you're enabling this. You keep jumping through the hoops, and he keeps going through the same motions, because he knows that you're going to not be ugly to him, until I was. Because there was a point where I was like, oh yeah? Okay. And we got there. And then I figured out quickly, I don't like this me. I don't like this part of me.
Me neither.
I didn't like I didn't like the me that felt like I needed to defend myself against my husband. And not physically defend myself, but I didn't like that me that had to be hard.
Had to fight. No.
It's not who I wanted to be. It's not who I am.
Fight for a marriage, but not in a marriage. No.
Right.
I'm talking about physical. I'm just talking about with emotions and trying to protect yourself and like
conflict.
No, I'm not running. I'm putting a shield up, but you ain't gonna let you keep doing what you're doing. But something got to give.
Something has to give, and that doesn't mean that I'm perfect, but it means that I'm done with the conflict. I have given you and shown you every possible way. I presented myself to you in so many ways that are acceptable, and you just keep allowing whatever's brewing inside of you to push you. And so this is why we want to, I know we have another number 8, and we're going to talk about that, but this is why we want to say that it's important to do the eye exam. Because sometimes your partner can do as much as they can do. And if you don't change, nothing's going to change.
Exactly. That's exactly the point of this right here. We talked about what you can do to make it yourself accessible to your spouse, to talk, to approach them with different ways and tactics. But that is not going to work out in the long run if you, the person, either feel you are being mistreated, or the person that is treating the other person, they're not something that they don't want to be treated like.
Right.
You have to examine that. Yeah.
You do. You want to consider, how would I want someone to treat me? And it is just like when I said I was enabling. There's a part of my husband that knew I shouldn't talk to her like that. She doesn't really deserve that, but that's what's going to get her off me. That's what's going to get, we might not talk for a couple of days, but we're going to end it right now. If I say and do this, it's going to be over with. And then I don't have to deal with it. And it worked, but only for a season. And if you do that knowingly, it is manipulative. And it's emotionally abusive for you to do that to your spouse, knowing I'm going to control them. Not so much so that I want to control them, but so that I can control the situation.
Wow.
That over time, that's ridiculous. And it is stressful and it's hurtful. And you can become bitter and resentful and angry. I became angry. And I began to fight back. And when I began to fight back, it got worse and not better. I felt better in the sense that I was like, you know what? No, you can get mad, do whatever you want to. I don't even care. Whatever. Be mad. I don't care. I wouldn't say that, but that's how I felt. I'm done. Oh, that's how you want to treat me? You want to talk to me? You want to walk away? Fine. I'll go and I'll stay 24 hours. He didn't like that.
Why didn't he be home?
Where you at? What you doing? What you mean?
If
you don't want me around. Now, ladies, I'm not saying that's what you should do. I would let him. He knew where I was. He knew where I was. If I stayed away 24 hours, he heard from me before that 24 hours was up. Because what I figured out is, don't give the enemy room. Because
she gonna stay out all night. I'm gonna stay out all.
I bet you better not stay out all night. We did that early in our marriage, and I was like, oh no. And I had to be super sleuth investigator. Let me check the credit card, debit cards. Where has he been? Oh, okay. He at his mama house. He in Greensboro doing this and such. I knew. But when you come home, we're going to have to talk about this.
Still talk about this.
Right.
That love
y'all, we're laughing, but all of this stuff just created such a tension and a friction in our marriage. It was like a fight that went on forever. And we had to get to a point where it was like, you know what?
The never-ending fight. Wow.
Oh, exhausting.
Woo.
It was exhausting. And then I became afraid to open up emotionally because I would just go back and go back and go back because I want to be married. I want to be in love. I want to not use intimacy as a weapon.
That's right.
I want to do things God's way. And that's what I wanted. So I remained open for a long time until I wasn't. It's not a good space to be in. It's really not. It is the grace of God that brought us back together because,
So how do you feel now?
I love you. I'm so glad I didn't give up. Because the reward is great. What I have is the antithesis of what I had before. He's the opposite of that person, of that man. And I have received love unconditionally from him. I have received reciprocation, apology, consideration, honor, even to the point of, acknowledging to our children, Dad was not doing what Dad was supposed to do, because they loved him and they lauded him and they honored him. And then I thought so much more than me. And I was like, Lord, I'm just tired, and we're going through all of this and he's the favorite. It was driving me crazy. It's like, I'm trying to keep this family together spiritually and, physically, and he's the favorite. And I can't even talk to him. And, all of that changed. And it was by the grace of God. We'll tell that story one day, but it was simply by the grace of God, truly Amen. By the grace of God, that we found a way to, he was able to see himself, and I was able to forgive. So that God could do what he said on our wedding day, which he said we would be a couple of examples. We didn't know what that example would be, and now we're walking it out. That example of how God can restore a marriage. And so anyway,
we
number 8.
You, yes. We encourage
We're
you.
over time, but number 8. To what extent do you trust your spouse? Again, we're talking about the eye exam. Examine yourself. What about me? What am I doing?
That's right.
Okay, A, not much at all. They've let me down in the past. B, sometimes I trust them, but there are times when I test them to see if they're telling the truth.
Oof.
Wow. C, I trust them most of the time. And D, trust is the basis of our marriage, and we trust each other to be honest. Wow. 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 The way that I feel now is D. Trust is the basis of our marriage, and we trust each other to be honest. We have each other's passwords. We can go into each other's phones. We share accounts.
Yeah, I practice on her. I tell her, look, take my phone, unlock it.
Yeah, if he changes it, I know what it is.
I know some people are like, well, they shouldn't have no phone. Look, I'm trying to tell you, what if something happened to you and the police are trying to get in your phone? We're like, well, what's the password? I don't know.
I don't know.
But do it.
Put it up to his face. His eyes are closed. What do you have to hide?
Yeah, you talking about you want your independence. So you are independent. You person. You are Jennifer. He's B. Whatever. You are independent. But a marriage is. Marriage is one. It's oneness. And why leave... Okay, if you don't have anything to hide, why leave foot for the enemy to step in by even having the thought of, why won't they let me, into the world? But I tell you this, though. Like, I can go in my wife's pocketbook, but I don't.
He doesn't.
I don't.
Like, babe, get that. It's in here and blah, blah, blah. He bring the whole purse.
It's no, I know as a man, I know that, I know my wife she's a beautiful lady. Okay, so I could see something that says Dragon Ball or whatever. And I'm like, who invited her to go play Dragon Ball? Who was, that could happen. I'm just saying, it doesn't.
But what's good is you don't have to do that, because even though he has access to my account, we had an occasion where an old friend, associate reached out, and they began to say some things in one of the social media platforms, complimenting me. Oh, you're still beautiful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And to ask the question, I always, when someone approaches me that way, I lead with the question or a response of, yes, I live such and such. My husband and I, da 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 da. So I can find out in your next response, are you trying to come at me, or are you really just trying to?
Yeah.
And I will let him know that.
Yeah.
I would let him look at it. Babe, this is such and such, and this is what they said, and this is how I responded.
Yeah.
Not because it's required of me, but because I will leave no place for the enemy. And as women, ladies, my husband learned this lesson a long time ago. He had to have a little re-up on the course. But when your wife tells you that she does not like the conversation that a woman is having with you, cut it off.
Yeah, man, for real.
Cut it off.
No, and that was that. I don't understand. I don't feel that way. I don't see why she feels that way. Acknowledgement.
There is something that you don't know, sense, or understand that we do. Now, oftentimes sometimes there can be an issue with a woman or a man that is insecure. And they're insecure within themselves, and whoever is a threat to them. That's a different situation. You trust your wife, trust her enough to know that she can tell when another woman is vying for your attention. And we had to deal with that. And he didn't understand. Well, I knew you wouldn't like it. No, I wouldn't like it. And for that reason, this person is off limits. I don't care what they need. If they need something, they're going to get it from us, not from you. What you going to do for her?
For real.
Nothing.
It's like, and once again, my male mind, I'm just like, I don't see what the big deal is from me mansplaining.
When we just friends, I don't care. I do not care. Because what I see, you don't see, baby. What I see, you don't see. I'm like, let me see the profile picture. Oh, yeah, you stretched out on the bed. No. We won't be friends. No, baby. No, you need help. Oh, that's so sweet. How can we help you? How can we pray for you? You need some money? You need food? You need something for your children?
Yeah.
We will be happy to assist you.
Yeah.
Or you get nothing. And not from him. Because, see, you're not going to fantasize about him being your knight in shining armor. That's a fantasy. He comes with me. That's not jealousy. That's unity. That's not jealousy. That's unity. Yeah.
That's good.
Look, he's like, I didn't know he was going to bring that up. Neither did I, but that's important. Somebody
It is
need to hear
important. For real, it is important. That's why we're here. We're here to be transparent and to, help somebody, because we went through this. We got through it. I think that's an important thing.
Ooh.
And now we're at a place where we can help somebody else make it through.
Yeah.
So, man, my goodness. We thank you so much for tuning in. And look, to top it all off, I'm going to leave the 8 questions.
Yes.
Maybe not the whole answers, because it takes so much space, and I don't know if Facebook will let me have all that. But anyway, when you're easily accessible with your spouse and you can work with them to resolve marital issues, you can avoid a lot of arguments. You can even stop arguing.
I like that part.
And misunderstandings.
Yes.
The eye exam, I think it's so important. Please go back through this video and replay it and just answer the questions for yourself. And if you did get some out of it, please share with somebody. It helps us to spread the word. Because this is what we do. We come here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays just to help couples pursue and have a successful marriage.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, it takes love, it takes honesty, and sometimes it takes some tears. There's some things you have to face that if you don't, they will become barriers to your success. And so I think my honesty and my confrontation was a little challenging for my husband in the beginning of our relationship, but I think he appreciates it now in a way. If he couldn't before, then he does now. Let's get to the issue. Let's get past the issue, and let's get back to having fun. Let's get to the good part.
Not skip it. Let's not try to act like it ain't there, because it's there. It's still there. It's still there. No, let's go ahead and squash that thing. Yeah.
So there's nothing between us.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. And I trust the same thing with you.
Yeah.
I just, I know my wife is a beautiful lady, inside and out. And I think people see that. And so much so, it's like, I'm like, okay, sometimes I'm like, wow, why you keep asking so many questions about my wife? But I trust her. So
leave your friends alone.
Yeah.
They're just curious.
Yeah, I know. I don't think she's gonna do anything, but why you? Why you keep asking? Anywho, baby.
That's funny.
Take us home.
Know what your spouse can handle. Okay. I share with my husband what I share with him, but be wise. You don't need to tell him if somebody's hollering at you every day or something like that. Say what you say to inform him of things that could be an issue, not to make him jealous, because there are some people who just like to make their spouse jealous. Yeah,
I mean, every time she come out of the house and come on, someone's going to check me out in the grocery store. Well, that's expected, ma'am. You look good. Okay.
Why are you telling me that?
Why are you telling me that?
It's not necessary.
What did you bring your thing back from the grocery store?
Right. Were you checking him out? That's what I want to know. Anyway, we're going off the rails.
The eye exam.
We love y'all, and this is why we do it. I pray that you heard something tonight that will encourage you to look at yourself more honestly and more deeply, to examine who you are, how you are, and why you are the way that you are, and how that affects your spouse. Because it's not enough to just know, well, this is how I am because such and such. Okay, but how does that affect my relationship? How does it affect my marriage? How does it affect my freedom? How does it affect intimacy and connection for me? Am I satisfied with being that way and robbing my spouse of having all of me?
Wow.
Wow. That's a deep question. This is why we do the eye exam. So again, like, share, run over to the YouTube page, check us out. You can go to couplespursuit.com as well.
/videos. You can see all our videos there. And also we have a free effective communication masterclass that we offer just for you, just for situations like these.
Yeah.
And you can go to couplespursuit.com/communication. Just type that in, it'll take you straight there.
Yes, and we just love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. If you have any questions, please send your questions. If you want to send them privately, you're welcome to do that as well.
Yes.
You can go to
support@couplespursuit.com.
Yeah, you can send your questions there, and we'll answer. If you want it to go directly to him or to me, we'll answer accordingly as well. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you peace as you continue to pursue your mate.
Amen. Bye.
We'll see you next time.